What job do people underestimate the difficulty of? Some people underestimate the difficulty of being president. All the past presidents since Reagan have said the job was far more difficult than they imagined despite being aware of what past presidents said. Reagan answered, "I don't recall." Certain factory jobs. I worked in a cardboard factory making boxes, and it was the hardest job I've ever had. We had to manually feed a press putting out 15,000 to 25,000 pieces an hour. You'd grab as many sheets of cardboard as you could from the bend in your elbow down to your fingertips, getting hundreds of paper cuts until you develop calluses on your forearms, hands, and under your nails. Then have to do a spinning front squat and place it in the feeder, which would be empty again in 5 to 10 seconds. You wouldn't think of cardboard as being heavy, but some of them are made to hold heavy objects or resist water and are pretty dense. Keeping that pace up in a very hot factory was brutal. Not to mention they have a giant digital stopwatch over the press you're working on so everyone can see exactly how long it takes you to complete an order. Factory work is absolutely brutal. I worked at a clothes factory and measured and folded so many red shirts for weeks on end that when I would leave, everything was green. Veterinarians. They do such a broad range of work on such a broad range of animals with tools and drugs that weren't invented for it, and they're paid a pittance in comparison to human medical doctors. Cutting big tree branches off. I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos and I'm pretty sure a bunch of people die every year cutting tree branches off. From a labor to pay ratio, and I don't expect this to be a popular opinion, but I would say fast food worker. It's shite work, you don't get paid a living wage, and everyone looks down on you. I hate those fuckers that bitch about. They can't even get my burger right, why should I pay them $10 an hour? Maybe because it's a hell of a stressful job and forgetting cheese on your burger doesn't warrant a family goes hungry, you self-important fuck. Airline pilot. I keep hearing these dumbasses say that the plane flies itself, all they do is push a button, which is bullshit. Autopilot is there to do the boring, tedious parts, the pilot is there to handle the real challenges. Ever see a heavy crosswind landing? People call it a miracle, I call it doing their job using their skills. To add to that, becoming an airline pilot is a career that takes $100,000 plus, if you include a college degree in addition to flight training, which every major airline requires. And after spending all that money, your first 3 to 5 years in the industry you will be working shit jobs making less than $30,000 a year with zero job security. Those first officers that are flying your short commuter flight in the super small plane are probably living in what the industry calls a crash pad, which is a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment filled with bunk beds that pilots share, because they don't make a livable wage. Teachers. Also, paramedics. Definitely teachers. Especially as classrooms become even larger and wages stagnate. Being an anesthetist. It's nice and chill right up until it's not, and then it's a shit hits the ceiling kind of thing. And your patient will most likely not even know of your contributions to their good health, at least in my part of the world. Sent chocolates to my poor anesthesiologist. Got put under, had a severe allergic reaction to an antibiotic, flatlined, was brought back while my would-be surgeon pressed himself up against the wall, totally useless. Truckers. People think that all we do is drive, and we exist only to kill people and slow you down. Actually navigating a 65 to 70 foot, articulated vehicle weighing up to 80,000 pounds amongst the general public is not easy. We're abused, misunderstood, taken advantage of, and thought of as uneducated, nasty rejects of society. I get the finger more than I've gotten, thank you. Toss in very tight regulations governing not only how we drive, but how we live, and you've got an occupation where most don't make it their first year. We also have among the highest mortality rate of any profession. Recently, people seem to think that automated trucks are in the near future and we'll all be out of a career, which instead of trying to explain what we do and why full automation won't exist for decades, I just laugh because people don't understand and don't care what we do and how we do it. I wish more people thought this way. I'm teaching my son to drive and I've tried expressing how most truckers are lifesavers on the road and how he has to work with big trucks, like flashing headlights to let trucker know their ass end pass you and they can change lanes. My fave trucker story was way back when I was a stupid teenager. I drove all night back home and midway through this desert, about 4 a.m., I fell asleep at the wheel. I hit a reflector and spun out on the shoulder. When I got out, there were already 2 or 3 semi-trucks pulled over. The guy behind me could tell I was nodding off and had called in others or something. Anyways, they checked on me, made sure the car was okay, and told me to pull further over and nap. No judging or anything, just making sure I was okay. I'll never forget that, and I'll always respect the shit out of you all. This might sound stupid, but being an exotic dancer, it's physically demanding. You deal with a-holes all shift long, and depending on what city you are in, the money is either feast or famine. Or then there is the potential for being stalked or physically assaulted by customers. I've heard being a cam girl is a bit better for some of those reasons. I've heard that too. Fortunately, I'm now too old, fat, and married to have to worry about that sort of employment anymore. Looking for jobs. The longer it takes, the harder it gets. I can't get a job because I don't have experience because I can't get a job because I don't have experience. And then you start doubting yourself, what you're doing in life, what you want out of life, why you even want that job. Maybe you should have gone to uni and get a dead-end degree just to kill time to try and get your shit together. Oh, and your social life is dead cause your friends are in work or uni, so you just drink at 10 a.m. if you can be bothered to even get out of bed. Short order cook. Yes, lots of people can cook. I just made a lovely omelette for breakfast. It wasn't difficult. I think what people fail to realize is that when you're a professional cook, you're not making a meal, you're making several meals at once, quickly and finishing at prescribed times. Some days I miss cooking for a living, because it's the only job I've ever had where you need a certain amount of adrenaline to operate. I love to cook. I'm a very good cook. I've been told by a chef friend that I have what it takes to get into the business. It's the one talent I have that I actually enjoy and love to do for other people. You will never see me working in any sort of establishment other than cooking lunch for my 12 clients I currently have every day. People tend to portray people they're bigoted against as lazy. So any job that parents threaten their kids with, being a blue-collar worker, correctional officer, private security, trash collector, street sweeper, all take tolls on one's life with little recognition from society. Acting. It looks easy because professionals make it look easy. It's most obvious to me any time a non-actor is thrown into a role as a cameo. Even playing themselves, they're terrible. I took drama in high school convinced I'd be the friggin' star of every play. Lasted 1 semester before I realized actual acting was not a skill I was good at. Taking care of small children. It's like being a warden, maid, teacher, nurse, and counselor all in one. Plus massive sleep deprivation. The way I've described it is, think of a time you had to babysit a friend who was utterly wasted and kept getting into shit and having emotional outbursts. Now stretch that scenario out to a few years. Waiting tables. You bring out food. How tough could it be? But many customers are harder on their servers than a BitTorrent addict. Especially in high-end restaurants. My wife worked in fine dining for forever. She used to come home and have to do work homework. Studying menus, wine lists, pairings, every ingredient in a dish, and what they are like. Plus having to memorize every order at every table she has because you can't write them down. Add that to moving all day. It's like being an athlete studying your playbook and working out to be in top shape for your game. I have a ton of respect for servers. Housekeeping. The amount of people that I put through training in 2016 and just left without saying anything is baffling. It feels like people don't understand that cleaning rooms to be presentable to the public takes a tons of work and has a standard to uphold. Most seem to think it's going to be a relaxing therapeutic job similar to how you take your time cleaning at home. But no. We have no time for leisure cleaning. Most days are full check-in, full check-out. You get there at 10 a.m. and you have to be done by check-in time. You have no idea how bad the rooms are. Some people just sleep in the beds and leave, while others let their children dip their hands in chocolate sauce and wipe it all over the duvet, walls, and carpets. Rooms can take anywhere from 20 to 60 minutes to clean, and if you have 25 rooms to clean between 3 housekeepers, it's entirely doable, if the housekeepers actually know how to clean. The rooms have to be spotless. No mirror spots, no cup rings, no crumbs on the floor, not a speck of dust anywhere. If people find a problem, they will complain and the housekeepers are to blame, no arguments. Sometimes I go to check the rooms of our newbies, and what they think is acceptable for viewing eyes makes me internally scream and wish I was getting paid more. Oh yeah, the pay. You'll most likely get under minimum wage and you'll constantly echo in your head, I'm not paid enough for this. Outside of the rooms you also have to maintain the entire look of the hotel, load laundry, and rush under the pressure of idiotic guests who don't know what a check-in time is and show up at bloody 12 demanding their room, which is either on the other side of the hotel away from your cleaning carts, or still occupied by a dumb shit who refuses to leave at checkout time. The reason checkout times and check-in times can be so early late is because the housekeepers need all the time we can get to finish the rooms properly for the next wave of guests. Stressing us out leads to mistakes, and most can't handle the stress both physically and mentally, thus leave the job they thought was gonna be a leisure job. What job do people underestimate the difficulty of? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.